There is what we used to say when someone invites us for a celebration, for a feast, wedding celebration, birthday celebration, any feast that has to do with drinking and eating. We would ask the person, should we take Andrew's liver salt? You know what Andrew's liver salt is? It is a brand of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and magnesium sulfate. It is effective in relieving heartburn, indigestion, and constipation. It is a laxative. So to ask someone that question in this context, if you take it for a celebration or for a feast, you don't have heartburn or constipation or indigestion, but it's to help you to empty your stomach so that you can eat the food in that feast very well. Nothing would obstruct your participation fully in the eating and drinking of the meals and drinks in that feast. This should help us understand why Jesus said that as far as the bridegroom is with the attendants, with the guests, there won't be need for fasting, because it's about feasting. When you go to a wedding feast, you're not going there to fast, you're going there to feast. That tells us the reason for fasting. Why do we fast? We fast in order to prepare for a celebration. Fasting is for preparation for a celebration. Just like that, Andrew's liver salt helps us to prepare for a great feast. Fasting is a part of preparation for a great feast. And that's why even among the Jews, traditionally, biblically, it is strictly mandated that every grown-up Jew, and the healthy one for that matter, must fast on a day of Yom Kippur. The day of Yom Kippur is a day of atonement, the day they pray for the forgiveness of their sins. It's also a day that they would bring out the scapegoat, and they would confess all their sins on top of that scapegoat and leave it to go. So it was the day of confessing their sins, pleading for mercy, so that they would be ready for the reception of the coming Messiah. So fasting is about purification for the presence of God. What it means is that in the absence of Jesus, you fast, but in the presence of Jesus, you feast. Feasting is for the presence of Jesus. Fasting is for the absence of Jesus. So if you see someone telling you to go and fast, ask the person, what's the purpose for the fasting? We fast on Easter to prepare for the great feast that is coming. That's what it is. When Easter was beginning in the early church, they used to do their own fasting on Friday that would enter into Saturday for the Easter celebration. And it was a preparation to feast, and also a preparation to enable the presence of God to come. When you fast, you are purifying yourselves of your sins, just like the Jews did. And also the most fervent ones among them would extend that fasting to the second day and the fifth day of every week. They would fast Mondays and Thursdays, all in an attempt to ask for forgiveness. But it became for them a ritual. Nothing again had meaning from it. They lost the meaning. Jesus told his disciples today that you are no longer preparing for the coming of the Messiah. The Messiah is here with you. I am here with you. You don't need to fast. You will fast when I will leave you to expect my coming again in glory. He was there with them. There won't need to fast because the reason for fasting was there. So you are no longer preparing, you are celebrating. When I will leave you, you begin to prepare for another celebration in heaven, the wedding feast of the Lamb. We must understand it today that sin brings about fasting. When we sin, the presence of God leaves us. And the highest fasting we can offer to God is that obedience that is greater than sacrifice. It's not just about leaving food, leaving drink, leaving everything. Obedience is the highest and the most difficult thing you can do. Obedience is very difficult. Among the evangelical councils, obedience is the most difficult. If you can obey, then you can obey to be celibate. You can obey to be poor. So obedience links all of them. So when you give yourself in, deny yourself, and obey in submissiveness, you are already fasting. That is the highest fasting you can do. Fasting is not just about offering food, offering it up to this or for that, not drinking, coming to church. They are good. But the highest fasting is obedience. Samuel said to Saul, obedience is better than sacrifice. You don't sacrifice your food, they tell me that you are fasting, but you are not obeying or listening to the voice of God. So is that listening ear, attentive ear, that's the highest fasting you can give to God. May God help us to understand that His presence brings about feasting. In the presence of God, there is fullness of joy and gladness. No sorrow, no mourning. But in His absence, we fast to receive Him back.